Hi folks, here we are down in Dayton, Ohio. This is at the Packard Museum. They got a really cool place here, so we're going to walk around and show you what there is and just enjoy the video. Well, we're in one of the main rooms here. These are all pre-war Packards in this room. You can see how this kind of pan around. And they're all in this room here as well. This is more of a showroom looking room in there. Got a prototype 1932 V12 engine right here. We'll show you some of the signs and stuff. Now this car here was the Jesse Vincent 1928 model. You can read all that information about it, but this was used to prototype or try different technology for Packards. And it's got a speedster body, and supposedly Charles Lindbergh drove this car on a racetrack and got it up to he claimed the highest speed he's ever been on land. And they also got a picture right there with Jesse Vincent and Amelia Earhart sitting next to him, right in this car right here. So it's a pretty historic car right there. And this building itself was also used as a Packard distributorship. There's the old office in there, one of them. I guess the manager's office is on the other side. There's a bunch of Packard and automobile related stuff in the case there. But anyway, they'd do their oil changes and stuff that come in this bay and do them over there. You can see the pull down hoses and stuff. And then if they had heavy work, they'd go on this elevator over here and go to the upper floor. And then also, if you didn't have an estate where you could have a big garage or something, they'd put them downstairs here and store them for you for the winter. You'd bring them in the fall. There's a Packard convertible coupe here. It's got the golf club door, rumble seat. So one of the things about a Packard is you can see that's one of their trademarks is that kind of a stop sign shaped octagon deal, and the other one is the radiator. See how it's got a flat on either side and an arch in the middle. That was a thing that Packard did. That one's got a donut chaser mascot. But anyway, Buick tried to, or I don't know if it was only Buick, but I think they got in a lawsuit with Packard over that trademark of the shape of the grill, as you can see it on this one too. And Buick got into it over with them, and I think Packard won the lawsuit as far as I know. You could look up the history on it if you're interested in it. Now this one is a town car, so it's kind of like a limousine with an open section in the front for the driver. Would be out in the open. You can see there's a divider window there, goes up and down, and the passengers would be in the back. That's a big, impressive looking dual side mounted Packard. Here's a race car. I'll show you as many of these signs as we can here. 1976. Here's the big elevator deal I was telling you about, where they could go up to the upper level with them. This one here is a 1937 12 cylinder. Look at that, 473 cubic inch V12. So that would get you down the road pretty good. This one's got dual side mounts as well. I think you'll find a lot of the Packards did. There's a big V12 engine. This is a really cool place, so if you're in the Dayton, Ohio area, this is a cool place to come. There's also a Packard Museum up in Warren, Ohio, which we did a video of last year. And then we met these guys down at Hershey at the swap meet, and they mentioned coming up here, so that's what we did. There's a convertible sedan right here. This one's body by Brewster, so this one's got a custom body on it. There it is right there. Pretty good looking. That one's got a first place winner right there. Good looking Packard there. And Packard did trucks. Notice it's still got the same shape to the radiator. But that's a Packard truck there. And here's a toy one right in the window of their place here. These were made by Keystone, made in Boston, Massachusetts. Keystone made big pressed steel trucks back in the 20s and 30s. And that's what that is, their scale model of a Packard. Look at the whole group of them there with wide bodies and stuff, headed off to do some work. This one's got a dump truck body. Notice the dump mechanism on the back there. And the hard rubber tires. Pretty much an all wooden cab. Flip out windows, almost like you'd have in a house. This is a blacked out one here, 1933. In the height of the Depression, it's talking about it here. Former head of Procter & Gamble purchased this car. Special ordered with battleship gray. That's kind of unusual. So this one's 1933 8. But it's all blacked out. Notice the headlights, the grille, it's all black. Got a second windshield back here for the back passengers. Pretty cool. It's got some jump seats down in there as well. Oh, this one's nice here. This is my favorite so far. Here's the lubrication pull down hoses I was talking about. It's for grease and air and all kinds of stuff up on there. And those are old school. I mean, look at those. You can see all the tubing coming over. Tubing comes down, goes along here, and I guess they would have had their oil and grease and stuff all in there. Pretty cool place. So this one's a 1934 8 Coupe Roadster, they call it. Notice the shape of the headlight bezels as well on that. And the little running lights on the fender. Really nice car. And we got another sedan over here. 1938, or 35, sorry, I'm saying 38, it's an 8 engine. Big black sedan. This one have the jump seats in it as well? Nope. So this one's just a 5-passenger, I guess. There's some of the old testing equipment there. Here's another Packard truck. This is like a World War I Army truck. 1918. Tells all your information about it there. U.S. Army bought 10,000 Packard Army trucks back in the day. Look at the airplane engine here. That's impressive. Got the radiator still on there. There it is. They have some history playing here on the TV you can watch. Look at the nice Packard sign back there, porcelain dealership sign. Here's one that was used in the Great Race. This looks like an older series. Yeah, it's 1918 Twin 6. Tells all about it there. So any of these signs, you can pause on them if you want to check them out. Good looking touring car here. We'll get to the other side. Use the sun behind our back a little bit. Single 6 touring, 1922. There you go. Well, the motto of Packard too was ask the man that owns one, because if the guy owned one, he'd tell you how good it was. It really was a great car, you know, and well built and durable. So much so that the Army even bought a bunch of their trucks. There's a good looking roadster here. Wow, that's impressive. Look at the length of that. Got the wind wing windows. This one's got the donut chaser. Look at the headlights as well with a little green jewel. I guess that was so you could probably tell that your headlights were on. There's donut chaser out front. This one's got some trip lights, they call those. Those are driving lights. Quite a car. And we got a 120 here. Packard 120 convertible. That's a pretty nice looking Packard there. This one is a 1941 120. We got a little music in that back area, so we'll jump over here. Here's a 1930 boat tail. Tells all about it. You can see the reason they call it a boat tail right there. It's always one of my favorite body styles. That's an impressive car right there. We've got a single driving light out front. And a spotlight up here too. Interesting how the passenger sits further back than the driver. All kinds of pieces and parts here too, different memorabilia. These are valuable right here. These are not Packard, those are Chevy, but those are like 1941 or so, 42 fog lights. For you Chevy guys, can spot those. Look at the carburetor display all lit up there. I like the old Packard mechanic uniforms too. That Spartan horn display is cool right there. All kinds of stuff in the case here as well. Look at this Packard display here. It's an Art Deco 1940s looking display there. Check out this one other one here. It's 1940 Super 8. They're calling it 180 sedan. Notice the running lights or driving lights on the fenders, or parking lights I should call them. Parking lights or running lights. And they got the older style Packard porcelain sign up on there. Here's another cool deal here, the lubrication tune-up area. Look at the new all-stock fender up there, it's still in the wrapper. There's another one of the Kingsbury trucks that we were talking about. That's a screen side truck here, and here's a nice little pedal car of a Packard. Not sure if it's American National or one of those maybe. Well, we're stepping back into the other room here. This is going to be all the post-war stuff in this area. They say they got Al Capone's last Packard in here as well. So just kind of show you around. This one's a 1953 Caribbean. These are great looking cars. Look at the styling to that with the full rear wheel cutout. Reminds me of a Buick Skylark with that. Here's all your information on it. It's a 327 straight 8. That's the bigger engine they had. Here's a 1942 to our right. Show you that one more time. This one's a Clipper, custom-made Clipper. These are styling models and stuff back here, and scale models. These here are more like a styling model there. Styling models were used by the factories, and you know, they'd keep tweaking them until they got something that looked like what they wanted before they built the real car. Look at all the different sales literature and stuff. Notice the clock there even has the Packard shape to it. Here's upholstery samples. Packard salesmanship program, so they'd take this around and try to sell you stuff. They'd have a record and some film. They'd show you all the cars that they're doing, probably go to different dealerships and stuff. Look at the touch-up paint. That's an interesting thing there. Here's all your paint chips. Packard cylinder oil can. Got some cool stuff. Packard awards there, leadership awards. Look at the old visible gas pump here. It's a nice one. Here's a 180. (1940) coupe here. Notice how they still had the donut chaser, but it has like a lucite wing on them by that time. Win with Roosevelt, it says. This one's a 110 Club Coupe. There's all your information about it. And that's got a gas ration sticker too. In World War II, they rationed your gas, and there's a sticker right there. And this one's a 1941 custom 8 Brougham by LeBaron. So that's another custom body on that one. Notice by then they have the swan with the high wings. Notice how the body's lower. It's a sedan, but it's a lower looking body. Here's your LeBaron badge and the fancy running boards. Quite a bit different looking than a regular Packard. So that would cost a lot more back in the day to get a custom body car, and also worth a lot more today if they have a custom body. We're just gonna spy back here to see what is in the back room. Kind of what the building looked like before they renovated it. Notice the Packard Woody wagon over there they got stored in there. Pretty cool. Another visible pump there. Here's a custom 8 convertible right here. This one looks like original paint. Notice the stone chipping on the front. Probably just a really nice Survivor, I'm guessing. This would have been quite a change over the older style cars. These are kind of a bathtub step-down design. Pretty impressive convertible though. Well, the guy that runs the place just came by and was telling us a little history of some of these. This is an impressive car. Pininfarina. Let's see if I can say it right. But anyway, this was a custom-built car that this custom car company came to Packard and said, "Hey, you want us to build bodies like this for you?" And they said, "No, we don't want a sports car." But a Packard enthusiast out in, I think he was out in California, he said, got the designs for it and had one custom built. So it's a one-off car right there. Pretty cool though, unusual body for an American car. It looks European. Nice looking donut chaser on that one. And he also told me that this red convertible, which we just showed you here, was owned by Perry Como. And he's a singer and TV personality. Now this sign here, 1907 Packard, this is the original sign off the Packard Motor Company building in Michigan. You can see the place right there, and there's the sign right over the door. So they had that moved in, and they saved it because that building is now all abandoned. And you know, probably won't be around too much longer, I'm guessing. Or maybe they've already taken some of it down, I don't know. Maybe somebody in the video could tell us. There's some more scale models of Packards. Now this, I believe, is a Dayton toy, I think. That's a scale model. I always thought it kind of looked like a Buick in the front, but here it is being compared with Packards. Different driving lights and stuff, accessories. Look at the wide rear view mirror. Some cool stuff. There's another one of the little Dayton toys. I think, you know, with that dip in the radiator, I believe those are Buicks, but they do look a lot like a Packard. There's a little Henny ambulance with the original box, promotional toy, plastic one. And we'll jump over here and show you this one here. This one is a 1936 120 convertible sedan right there. There's all your information about it. Pretty cool. And we'll go over this way. There's a couple more we didn't catch over here. There's a Ferrari. Tells all about it here. There's a connection to why they have it in the Packard Museum. That's an impressive looking Ferrari right there. See if I can get on the other side, work with the sun a little bit. Maybe I'll see it better this side with the camera. Now this car was the last one that was owned. He had two of them, but this is one of the last ones owned by Al Capone, the gangster. This one's a custom clipper. There's all your information about it. And I guess when he passed away, he left this one to his chauffeur or bodyguard. And when they restored this car, they found a bunch of spent bullet casings and stuff under the seats. You know, I can imagine with the stories this car would tell from Al Capone and his bodyguard back in the day. Here's a 1940 Super 8 160. There's all your information about it. This one's got a Hershey sticker on it there, 2023. We were there. We got a video of that out too if you want to check it out. You're into swap meets. We do all kinds of different junkyard swap meets, anything automotive or just antique stuff in general, flea markets and stuff as well. But we do museums, car shows, swap meets, junkyards, auctions, estate finds out by us out in South Dakota. Anything we can get into. Right now we're out in Ohio, so we make the rounds. It was a 1946 custom super clipper. See the back end of this one, isn't that wild? Pretty cool car. Now this one's a DeLorean here. So the reason this is here is because DeLorean worked for Packard. And when Packard merged with Studebaker, DeLorean didn't want to move to Indiana, I guess is the story. So he quit and went to GM. So that's the Packard connection with the DeLorean. There it is right there. Here's all your information. And there he is, DeLorean himself. John DeLorean. There's a lot of history behind his company. He got into a little trouble trying to raise money and put a squash to that company. Here's another 1950 Packard custom station wagon. It's a Woody. It's got a 327 in this one. Now if you like this car here and want to restore something, I have one of these that needs to be restored. It's a pretty solid body, but it needs all the wood, needs total restoration. But it's mine's a 49 or 50 Packard, somewhere in there. Woody wagon like that, and it's for sale. So they also have a library here. You can see it up there, Packard Library. They don't loan stuff out, but they have all kinds of information here if you're looking to get information on Packards. Here's another way to contact them here, right down there. America's Packard Museum.org. The Packard 1952, finer for you in 52. Now here's a Darren bodied Packard. We'll show you here. It's a 1940 model 120 Dutch Darren. But this is really impressive. Look how low slung it is. It's got a divided windshield, real low hood, totally different look than the normal Packard suicide doors on it. So here again, that's a custom body and very valuable today. Cost a lot of money when it was new. Notice the padded dash, that's kind of unusual for the time. But if you were seen in that back in the day, you were a very wealthy, probably somebody famous, Darren there. Look at this one. It's a looks like a taxi cab. It's got a Packard light on the roof. But anyway, let's look at this one here. We got a Clipper. This one's a 1954 deluxe sedan. There's all your information. '53 Cavalier touring sedan. There. And here's a 1953 Mayfair. There's all your information about it. This is a cool little office area here. They got the walls up and there's all kinds of, look at the different toys back in here. Now these do look like a Packard. Those are made by Turner. They're pressed steel and they look like a Packard. Same with the ones on the bottom. Except for the blue one is also the same company, Turner, but it looks like a Lincoln. And that's one of the more impressive big pressed steel toys. I've got a couple I collected myself. They're huge. You know, you can imagine a kid playing with them, but you could ride right on the roof of them. Here's some more Turners right here. And Turner was from Dayton, Ohio. That top one is a Keystone, but it's another one that looks like the Packard truck in the front. And there's some other vintage ones. That one's a Hubley on the end. Those are the kiddie toys. But they got some cool, look at the little HO scale one there. Cool Packards. They got another pedal car up top there. Jump over here. Here's a Packard Turbojet. Pretty wild. Jet engine. And we got a couple more engines back here. A Marine engine here. Packard Marine. Tells a little about them here. Commercial Marine engines. And here's a Studebaker. I guess you got to have a Studebaker in a Packard Museum because that's who they merged with. Tells all about it there. There we are, parked out on the street. You can see our pickup out there. There's another Caribbean. This one's a 54. Tells all the differences between the 53 and the 54. Here's the 1955 here. And this is getting towards the end of Packard here, by themselves anyway, before they merge with Studebaker. This is the 56 version. This one's another Caribbean. Quite the showroom right here. And here's a Caribbean hardtop. You don't see those very often. 236 or 263 hardtop Caribbeans were made in 56, so there wasn't very many made. And notice how it's got a padded top too. Kind of looks like a convertible if the top doesn't go down. Kind of interesting. Here's a big limousine. Scale model plane up top. And this one was used in a movie as well. This is a Henny Packard hearse. I'll show you this limo here first. can see the information on it here. Well, we're up in the front room. This is where you come in. That's where we should have started, but there was such a crowd here when we got here that we didn't. Here's a 34 Super 8 Sport Phaeton. Tells all about it there. Constructed for the 1934 auto show in New York. It's a dual cowl. Notice how there's a second cowling back in here with another windshield for your back passengers. Got West Virginia plate on that one. There's another town car with the open front area. That's impressive. Notice the disc wheels on these too. Packard did that quite often on some of them. You could have wood or disc or wire wheels. You can see the wire wheels on the one on the left. This one's 1928 right there. There's all the information about it. There's a lot of history on some of these cars, so you can read any of that signage you want. Look at the big upscale mascots here. Here's the Pelican. Tells all about it. For it first offered in 1932. Packard family crest. The Pelican radio antenna styles. See, they did that on some of them. That's pretty wild. Here's the Lalique, 1928 Lalique. Eagle head or whatever it is there. See the one with the airplane on it too? Motor meter. Pretty cool stuff. Here's the donut facer, what they call the goddess of speed. Right there. 1926 is when they applied for that patent. Even got a piano in here. There's a later style 1955 Packard V8. Pretty impressive looking engine there. Look at the little television in the black and white. You can watch here. Here's one of the last Packards right here. This is the Studebaker variation. This is after they merged with Studebaker. 1958 Packard Hawk. Right there. Tells all about it. Well, that looks complicated under the hood there. Let's get a supercharger on it. All kinds of other goodies. This one's a 32 twin 6.
You can get your hands in and work on it. It's amazing.
There's your information on there. Twin 6 is the V12 right there. And we got a real early one over here. This one's a 1902 Model F. Tells all about it there. That's back before they were enclosed cars. Look at the basket on the side. That was your trunk right there. Also notice the center rear door. This is how you got in. You didn't get in from the side. There's a step on the back and you climb up right in the middle there to get in the back. There's 1914 here. There's all your information on that one. Pretty impressive for 1914 right there. Look at that engine. Notice how your dash is basically up on the steering column there. Quite a car. There's your speedometer and stuff over there on towards the floor, and a clock. And this has got a mother-in-law seat sitting out back here. Big wheels. I mean, that's just about belly button high on those tires. Got a bunch more souvenirs and stuff there you can buy. Well, we're finishing up here. We're way up in the front corner. Look at this styling model, 1932 Car of the Dome. That is really cool. Notice the little taillights, and it's all handmade. The bumpers and everything, the hubcaps. Really cool. Headlights is missing the hood ornament. That's a really valuable piece because it was done for the auto manufacturer. And here's the manager's office they were talking about. Pretty impressive deal in here. They got all kinds of pictures of Packards and showrooms and stuff in here. Oh, and here's some of the deluxe catalogs too there. Look at the pen set with a Packard on it and the Packard lighter over there. Really cool. This place is just like stepping back in time. I like how they've done it. They keep the old buildings and the old vibe. Really not a big fan of the places that are overdone. Look at the Packard. It looks like a Packard radiator, but it's a serving tray. Little radio there. And we'll finish it here. This one's still on the rotisserie. Another big Phaeton. This one's a 1934. We'll show you the information on it here. 385 cubic inch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. And we had fun looking around here, and we'll catch you in the next round. Thanks for watching.